is going Prabhu all the way from Chowpatty. So he never came in winter. So, and also this is the first city he's visiting directly from India. Though he's in jet lag, but it's our great honor to have him here. And so many of you know His Grace Going Prabhu. He has been in the ISKCON movement for a long time. He has been preaching particularly to youth, universities, you name it, he is everywhere. So he has been, I think he joined in 87, Prabhuji? Yeah, since 87 he has been practicing this process of Krishna consciousness. So particularly for the youth and university students and also for congregations, and then he's a counselor and president. So we are very grateful to him for visiting us. So we will welcome him by 3 times saying Hari Bol. Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol! So Nitya Krishna Prabhu requested him to come back in summer again. So that is the request from everybody, from all of us. So if you have mobile phones, please keep them in vibrate or switch off if you don't need it, so that we can listen to him without any disturbance. And those who have not honored Prasadam, they can honor after the program. Hare Krishna. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunj Vihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunj Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Hari
Jaya. Stotra Shakti Charanarvind Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Jaya. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrind ki Jaya. Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki Jaya. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गो गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। वृंदावन धाम की जय। नवदीप धाम की जय। जगन्नाथ पुरी की जय। गंगमय जमुनमय की जय। भक्ति देवी तुलसी देवी की जय। कलियुग पावन हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। गौर प्रेमानंद गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री गुरु और गौरांग की जय। Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So take a words from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 4, text number 8. Paritrāṇāya sadhunam vināṣāya ca duṣkritam dharma samsthapanārthāya samavāni yuge. To deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion, I myself appear millennium after millennium. Read one part of the purport. According to the Bhagavad Gita, a sadhu, a holy man, is a man in Krishna consciousness. A person may be appear to be religious, but if he has the qualification of Krishna consciousness wholly and fully, he is to be understood to be a sadhu. And dushkritam applies to those who do not care for Krishna consciousness. Such miscreants or dushkritim are described as foolish and the lowest of mankind. Even though they may be decorated with mundane education, whereas a person who is 100% engaged in Krishna consciousness is accepted as sadhu. Even though such a person may be neither learned nor well cultured. As far as the atheistic are concerned, it is not necessary for the Supreme Lord to appear as he is to destroy them, as he did with demons Ravana and Kamsa. The Lord has many agents who are quite competent to vanquish demons, but the Lord specially descends to appease his unaware devotees, who are always harassed by the demonic. The demon harassed the devotee, even though the latter may happen to be skin. Although Prahlad Maharaj was the son of Hiranyakashipu, he was nevertheless persecuted by his father. Although Devaki, the mother of Krishna, was the sister of Kamsa, she and her husband Vasudeva were persecuted only because Krishna was to be born of them. So Lord Krishna appeared primarily to deliver Devaki rather than to kill Kamsa. But both were performed simultaneously. Therefore it is said here that to deliver the devotee and vanquish the demon miscreants, the Lord appears in different incarnations. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashavakaya Chakshurunmilitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is explaining about Krishna conscious person. He may not be educated. So such claim was made by Hanumanji in the 5th canto of the Bhagavad. He says, when I was connected to Lord Ram, he is staying in Kim Purusha Loka, and from there he is remembering his personal contacts with Lord Ramchandra. He says, what was our background? that I was not educated, I was not qualified. I was from Vanar community. Now Vanar is not necessarily straight called as monkey, because there is no other word available in English. Vanar means what kind of human being are you? It's an exclamation mark. Because when someone becomes restless in their life, practicing no discipline, then sometime they are addressed as Vanar. They are from Kapikula. You don't find monkeys performing Sandhyavandan. Right. But Hanumanji, for that matter, Sugriv Wali, was very good in doing his Sandhyavandan. While fighting also with Ravan, he grabbed Ravan in his armpit, but he did not miss his Sandhyavandan. So, but still after doing all those kind of proper sadhana, still there was some kind of restlessness. No, recklessness, restlessness. So therefore they are addressed as Vanar. A community of people, when there is a typical particular behavior, the entire community is addressed by certain slang words. Baniya. Those who make money, they are called as Baniya. The Baniya word was used by the Europeans because the business people in India, they would sit under a banyan tree and do all the exchanges. Therefore, they are called as Baniya. No? So, Hanumanji is actually saying to Lord Ramachandra that what was our background? I had no education. I do not belong to a higher community. But still, Lord Ramachandra is so magnanimous and udar. He accepted me as his very close friend. It is not my qualification, but it is the greatness of the Lord Ramachandra. But when you read carefully, recently our BTG, Back to Godhead magazine, Indian division had organized Yatra to Sri Lanka. So Sri Lanka is the place where the first person who could ever enter. During Ravana's time, Lanka was not penetrable. Nobody could enter into Lanka. No, it's like coming to America only. Very difficult. Even if you have a visa, they'll ask you questions. So this time a lady who was there, she was very, I think she had visited some temples. So she was very welcoming. Okay. So it is said that Lanka of Ravana was not penetrable. So Hanumanji, when he came to the doorstep of Lanka, when he saw Lanka, he gave a very beautiful analogy. He said Ravana's Lanka is as unpenetrable as the mind of an uncontrolled person. Huh? So therefore people go and attend. Who am I? No? Because there is uncertainty about their identity. When there is no connection to our roots, then we are disturbed. It happens many times for those people who have to keep moving from one place to another place. No, they can't have an identity. Who am I? Of course, the soul part comes afterwards. Whether I'm a Gujarati, whether I'm a Maharashtrian, who am I? So if you talk to children who are raised in the country beyond their origin, sometimes they say I'm an earthly being. No? Right. Sounds very lofty, but the roots are not there. So Hanumanji, when he came and he saw Lanka, he said, this is like a mind of a person who is not controlled. Man uska niyantran mein nahi hai. Difficult to enter into the person's mind when the mind is not stable. On the other hand, Valmiki Maharshi, when he came to the river Tamasa, before he began to compile Ramayana, when he saw that river, very beautiful, clean river, he said, this river appears like the mind of a sage. Why? Because the mind of the sage is very peaceful. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita also, the mind is compared to lotus flower. It is called as Sumanas. And the rotten flower is Kumanas. So mind is also like that only. So when Hanumanji came there, then eventually came to the place, we will fast forward, Then he comes to Ashoka Vatika. And we were there, Ashoka Vatika, when India did surgical strike. That was the first original surgical strike done by Hanumanji. He came there. The point I want to discuss is, Hanumanji is very, very thoughtful. Sometime Prabhupada called some devotees and he asked them, how do you think Krishna consciousness movement will continue to go forward? So devotees naturally give very simple answer, Prabhupada's sincerity. He said, no, intelligence. Organization requires what? Intelligence. Sincerity is good for personal growth, but sincerity is not sufficient. Sincerity has to be there. Without the skill of efficient management, things do not move ahead. Therefore, sometimes those who practice spirituality, they get stuck only with sentiments. Sentiments are good, but sentiments without thoughtfulness and knowledge becomes the cause of havoc. Therefore, Rupa Goswami says, Shruti Smriti Puranadi Pancharatrik Vidim Vina Aikantika Harir Bhaktir Utpate Vahi Kalpate. No? Again in the Bhakti, in the Bhagavatam also, 3rd canto, there are different kinds of bhakti. Bhakti in the mode of ignorance. It's a verbal jihadi only. No? Kapil Muni explains to Mother Devavati that those who are practicing bhakti in the mode of ignorance, tamoguna, their character is their separatist. Separatist means what? Not to see Krishna anywhere other than their own devotional service. Rather than following the teachings of Gita, yadyad vibhuti mat sattvam, yumam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mahi pashyati. A bhakta in sattva guna, what does he see? He sees that flavor, that spark, that splendor. He likes to see Krishna everywhere. But the person who is practicing bhakti in mode of ignorance, he sees no one practicing bhakti other than his own self. He is a separatist, and because he is separatist, he is violent also. Verbally violent, physically violent, very narrow-minded, aggressive. Just see, because Shraddha is there, but the Shraddha has become basically perverted, rotten. And on top of that, who is a terrorist? If you understand terrorist, a terrorist is one who has Shraddha, complete faith, but his faith is not evolved. And plus he has a valor which is not also evolved. A soldier is very evolved, a true soldier. He doesn't only take pleasure in striking people, he also has a great courage to protect people. He knows how to punish, but he also knows how to protect. So his valor is extremely evolved, healthy valor. But a terrorist's valor and Shraddha both are disturbed. Therefore, for him to take people's life is no big deal. No? Very dangerous. Therefore, Shraddha without wisdom is very dangerous. So when we study Hanumanji, that specifically when he comes to Ashoka Vatika, when Hanumanji sees that Mother Sita has been harassed, Ravan comes, he asks for her love and marriage. He said, if you don't agree, he has given time to Sita. If you don't agree within 2 months, then I will eat you in breakfast. That is the beginning of one-sided love. No? People, when they don't agree, then they throw acid, they kill. No, this is, love is not defined by that. That's like, threatening only. So he said, I will eat you in breakfast. And when Ravan goes away, one of his wife takes him away. He said, why you are so bothering with her? She is not giving you any attention to you. I am there now with you. So she took him away. Dhanyamali, one of his wife. And then all the Rakshasis who had surrounded Sita, harassing her so much, and Hanumanji is sitting and watching. He is so powerful, but he doesn't strike immediately because he is thoughtful. Sometimes power without wisdom makes one do things, without thinking anything. So Hanumanji is watching, he is pained, he is hurt, he is feeling very bad. And so many demons are coming and harassing Sita. One demon, she comes and she tries to glorify Sita. Wow, your conviction is so good. You are so determined not to. So what she does, she praises Sita, but then with that praise she tries to convince Sita that you should become Ravana's wife. And after hearing all these things, Sita waiting for so many months in the Valmiki Ramayana, one of the beautiful part of Valmiki and Vyas is, they present character as it is. They present event as it is. Mother Sita is playing the role of a human being. She is Lakshmi. She is goddess of fortune. But they came down to perform human pastime. So what does Valmiki do? Valmiki shows her helplessness. Hatasha. No. Hat Asha means what? Your Asha has been killed. No, Hindi, wale samajh aayenge. No, Hatasha, it's a Sanskrit word. So Sita, at some point of time, after waiting for so many months, she decided that it is no point to continue to live in this world without Lord Ramachandra. So better I give up my life. Atmatya is not recommended in the scripture. It's one of the greatest, in one sense, sin to give up your own life. But she convinces herself why she should give up her life. And she takes her own bread. Long hair she had. And Hanumanji is waiting. My God, how do I stop her now? Now, if I don't stop Mother Sita from what she is doing, how will I go back to Ayodhya, go back to Dhanush Kodi and speak to Lord Ram? Now, when he goes back, one poet says, if Hanumanji was only doing what he was told to do, the third class servant. No, he presents a case. Hanumanji goes back. Ram asks him, did you see Sita? Yes, master, I saw. What she was doing? She was hanging herself. Why didn't stop her? You didn't tell me to stop her. No, Hanumanji, very thoughtful. Now this is the beauty of Hanumanji. Now Hanumanji is thinking, how do I stop Mother Sita from committing suicide? He thinks if I jump from there, from the tree down to Mother Sita, she will scream. She will shout. If she screams and shout, then all other Rakshasis, they will come there and they will strike me, they will fight with me. And if they fight, then more demons will come. In this way, my purpose of coming here will be defeated. There will be a war. And I don't want to start a war here. I have not come for that purpose. So I cannot jump. And then how do I convey to Mother Sita? This is there in the Valmiki Ramayana. So Hanumanji is thinking, if I speak to Mother Sita in a Sanskrit language, Valmiki Maharshi uses the word Sanskrit Bhasha. If I speak in Sanskrit language, Hanumanji is thinking, then Sita will consider that Ravan has come disguised. Because Ravan was extremely great scholar of Sanskrit language. There is a Ravan Samhita, no, a commentary on, I think, Yajurveda. Right? He could write a commentary, but he couldn't write commentary about his own life. So if I speak in Sanskrit, then she will think it's a Ravan that will not work properly. And then Hanumanji again contemplates. The point I am making is that thoughtfulness is so important. Hanumanji has great sentiments. Innocency also, when Mother Sita asked him, no, when Hanumanji saw Mother Sita put that sindur, no, he asked her, why do you put that? So she said, our Ram likes it. So Hanumanji completely covered his body with sindur. Itni nishpapta hai. Such an innocence is there. But such innocence is very pleasing. When innocence is brought in a public place where you have to do something good to other, that innocence becomes stupidity. Nishpapta murkata mein parivartit ho jati hai. As long as it is personal, systems are not involved, management is not involved, innocence is okay. That's very beautiful. So Hanumanji is so innocent, at the same time is extremely full of wisdom. So what is his understanding? He said, if I fight these Rakshasas both, and then he speaks logic, Nyaya from Niti. He says one should not start a fight unless he has 100% guarantee of victory. किसी काम को you should not start any work unless you have done your methodically, properly calculated everything nicely. From your perspective, everything has to be done properly. Therefore, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, very interesting verse in the 18th chapter, he says, for every action, there are 5 causes. Panchaitani mahabhavo karanani nibodhame. What are these 5 causes? First is place of action. Where are you performing your action? If somebody is investing money in the business, it is not that he or she has to invest money in the business because they had a dream. Or somebody promised something. One has to study, okay, is it the right place for me to invest? That is called as place of action or a body. And second, Hare Krishna, somebody should help him. So second is place of action, second is collecting right instruments. That is called as upakarana, senses. Again, this is also very beautiful. When Lord Ram gave orders to the Kapis that you should go and look for Mother Sita, and he chose that party which was going to southern direction and gave a ring to Hanumanji. There was a greater confidence that Hanumanji will do this. So when they come to the ocean, when they see this vast ocean, Indian Ocean, they realize, my God, this is very difficult for us to go across. Now the monkeys or the Kapis don't say because Ram has ordered us, along with the order, अपने आप empowerment भी आ जाएगा. अपने आप कुछ नहीं आता. One has to put an efforts also. One has to discover their self. So the monkeys, the Kapis said, after seeing that ocean, they realized that the jump has to be 100 yojana. Most of the monkeys realize that we can only do 10, we can do 20, we can do 30, we can do 40. Jambavan said, I used to do it before, but now I have become old, now I cannot do. So empowering means what? Empowering means understanding my limitation. ये कोई पाप नहीं. Understanding my limitation, this is my limitation. I can only do this much. I used to do this much. This is Valmiki Ramayana. And because they were honest enough to talk about their limitation, from there emerged Hanumanji, who had the capacity to go across the ocean. Now, otherwise everybody wants to grab everybody's service. Because that service has some special privileges. No, there has to be qualification also, along with sentiments. So the first is place of action, second is instruments, upakaran. No? If there is a better singer than myself, I may have devotion. But to say that a better singer doesn't have a devotion, a good singer means usko bhakti nahi. Sometimes we feel that if you are stupid and idiot, that means you are a good devotee. No, that means those who have the capacity, it is not that synonymously that means they are arrogant. No, namrata is not achieved just because we are an idiot. Humility does not come just because we don't know anything. Like sometime in India and other places also, if you are rich means you are bad. If you are poor means you are nice. So a poor person wants to grab sympathy simply because he is poor. His qualification for getting resources from the government, resources from others is what? Because I am poor, therefore I am qualified. No. You may be poor, but you need to have a talent. What has to be supported is not your poverty, but your talent. Otherwise the resources will be wasted. So Krishna says, place of action, second, instrument. That is our responsibility. And third, efforts. You have a nice car and you have chosen to drive it on the road, not in the water. That means you have some intelligence. No? But the third thing is, the car is there, you are there, but you are not putting any efforts to drive it. Like Prabhupada said, the plane will not fly unless a living entity sits as a pilot and flies it. Otherwise it will stay there for 300 years. However much you do chanting, mantra, narsingaya, narsingarti, plane अपने आप नहीं उड़ेगा, उसको उड़ाना पड़ेगा along with chanting. So endeavor, the third is endeavor. It's a living entity's responsibility. And the fourth is our involvement. I am driving, the best of the road is there, and I am also putting in efforts. But the problem is I am not involved. I am sleeping, watching a cricket match, right, while driving. Or for devotees it is chanting. Somebody asked Prabhupada, while driving can we chant? He gave a very simple logic. He said you can't chant also nicely and you can't drive also nicely. दोनों में accident हो जाएगा. There will be accident both ways. Either you chant with mala and don't drive, or you drive and remember Krishna in the mind. So, your involvement. He said these are the four things which is our responsibility. And fifth is Daiva. 80% is the responsibility of the living entity. Only when I put my 80%, Krishna invests his 20%. Krishna is like a venture capitalist. He does not invest in us unless we are ready with our resources. It is coming from him only. But we have to show, I am very sincere and hard working. I am willing to put all my 80%. Then Krishna says, okay, I will put my 20%. The power of Krishna's 20% investment is more than 80% of consequences. Kriya mera 80% hai, action is 80%, but the consequences is only 20%, less than 20%. So Hanumanji is so thoughtful. He says, I cannot strike them, because if I strike them, then what will happen? I have no guarantee of victory. And even if I defeat, I'm very confident of defeating these demons, but I'm not guaranteed that I will fly back because I'll be tired. So therefore, war is not a good option. So what should I do? So Hanumanji said, best is that I should speak in a language which Mother Sita feels connected. It's a very important principle which Prabhupada called it as time, place, circumstance. I speak the same language. It happens many times because I deal with children also. What is the phrase they have for their parents? The phrase is, Papa, आप सुनते हो लेकिन समझते नहीं हो. Huh? Heard it? They say that you are hearing but you are not understanding. And the father and mother, especially fathers, they say, what? You think I don't understand? I have seen more rainy season than you. So the language is spoken by the son and the father, same language, but the connection is not happening. Father is speaking from one layer of reality, son or daughter are hearing from another layer of reality, they are responding from another layer of reality. Therefore the connection is not happening only. So therefore at some point of time the child says, you hear but you don't understand. When they say like that, don't become agitated. No. Try to come to their level. So Hanumanji, so beautiful, he said, I want to speak that language which Mother Sita will understand. It has two components. One is the language itself. Like I remember recently one of our devotees friend, his officer on special duty, Maharashtra government for the chief minister. So he had come to Pune temple and he was giving a talk, one conference. He said, there is this bhooth of everybody speaking in English only. So one district, officer sent a circular to village schools कि only compulsory you have to speak in English. But the students have no background of English. When you make that rule, they stop speaking only. Basically, you stop them from presenting however they can present in whatever language they can present. It's not about the language English, it's about ability to present. By forcing them to speak in particular language, you stop them from speaking only. You destroy their confidence. Right. So when he went to one school, he saw, it's a true story, the entire classroom was standing outside the school, outside the class. So he said, what's happening? So the teacher had suspended all the students. Get out! But he did not know the word come in, so therefore he came out of the classroom. He said, get out. It's, in one sense it's an irony, but it's a reality also. So Hanumanji said, I need to speak in a language which Mother Sita spandan karegi. She will feel for it. She will respond to that language. So Hanumanji was a bahubhashi. He knew many languages. He was not stuck by his own mother tongue. He respected his mother tongue, but he learned other bhashas also. Like the place where I come from, I grew up in a border town. There was a continuous conflict between Kannadigas and Marathi people. No? But fortunately enough, I learned Marathi also, as good as my mother tongue Kannada. But the Maharashtrians sometimes, not all Maharashtrians, when I was growing up, they had this Swabhiman which had turned into Durabhiman. We will not learn any other language other than Marathi. उसका परिणाम क्या हो गया? Then they had to go to Bangalore for a job. Then there was a trouble. It happens with Tamil people also sometimes. Not all Tamils. We will not learn any other language other than Tamil. Special hatred towards Hindi. Right. So Hanumanji was not like that. Now Hanumanji is from South India only, close to Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka, Ballari, right? But he knew the language of Ayodhya. It was not Sanskrit. So Hanumanji, Valmiki Maharshi just see, Ramayana is not simply a story, there is a management. No, life management is there, flavored with, saturated with limitless bhakti to Lord Ramchandra also. So then Hanumanji starts speaking in the language which Mother Sita can understand. What was it? It was a Awadh Bhasha. So instantly Mother Sita looked up. Just like if you are in a remote place and you find somebody speaking your mother tongue Telugu, most are Telugu people here. Others are also there, but we'll give more attention to Telugu people. So what happens? You look around, "Arey, kahan se aa gaya?" But somebody speak Telugu in Hyderabad, you don't walk looking, "Arey, kaun bola?" Because everybody is speaking Telugu. So just see how Hanumanji is so thoughtful. He spoke in Awadh, not Telugu. So instantly Sita looked up and he continued to speak. And the second component what he did was, he spoke the language, means the heart of Lord Ram. And therefore I chose this verse. What was it? He spoke about where Lord Ramachandra was born, who was his father, and then he came to that point which describes his psychology. भगवान का भी अपना psychology होता है. And he said that one of the character of Lord Ram is to practice his vrata. Swasya vratasya jivasya rakshita jiva lokasya swajanasya rakshita. He says that my Lord Ramachandra, his main quality is that he protects his own vrata. What's his vrata? The vrata of Lord Ramachandra is to protect others, those who are in distress. So when Mother Sita heard that he is describing the character of Lord Ram, there was further connection. She understood that he is not only speaking the language, but I can understand that language. You know, it's very, very important. When we talk about Krishna consciousness, it is not what I want to say, which I know, but it's about what they understand. Sometime I may not have to speak anything about Krishna because the other party has no understanding of Krishna. Some aspect of Krishna can be spoken so that they can relate. Otherwise they'll say, I don't understand his language only. बैठ गए घंटा सुनने के लिए, किसी ने बोला था जाओ सुनो, है ना, सब बम्पर चला गया और बाउंसर चला गया, no? So Hanuman ji spoke this concept to Mother Sita because at one point of time when Sita and Ramachandra were in the forest of Dandakaranya, in the Dandakaranya forest, so Sita asked this question to Ram. She said, what is your greatest quality, if you want to say, and what is your greatest pain? So Sita was expecting Ram will say, feeling separation from you is my greatest pain. So what did Lord Ramachandra do? He pacified her also. He made her feel like that. He said, my dear Sita, whenever somebody is in distress, I can't stand it. Whenever I see that people are calling me out of distress, then I rush there to protect them, and to do that, I am willing to forgo all my relationships also. My brother, my family, my wife. Now Sita did not feel angry or upset about it. Why? Because she felt it is Ram's greatness that is accepting me as his wife, but otherwise I am also a distressed soul. So she became very happy that Ram will become, pained in my separation. So she knew about this. And therefore Hanumanji spoke that language. And when she spoke, so Hanumanji became Sanjeevani for Mother Sita. who was about to quit her body, but by hearing the words of Lord Ramachandra, hearing the language what Hanumanji spoke, he gave her a new lease of life, a nectar de diya. Therefore, just imagine the power of wisdom which is coming from the scripture. If it is presented properly, that was the speciality of Prabhupada. Right? If he had spoken a language which other party did not understand, certainly they did not understand his English in one sense. Not difficult for them to understand. But he spoke in a language along with English which they could feel connection. So connection ho gaya. And because that connection happened, they took to Krishna consciousness. So then when Sita heard this, then Hanumanji came down very carefully. He comes down. Of course there was some suspicion because Sita was, her trust was misused by Ravan. Therefore instantly she did not accept what Hanumanji said. After he came down, she still thought he may be Ravan. Then again when Hanumanji gave her more convincing answer, and then eventually removed that mudra. No, when he gave that to Mother Sita, then for her that mudra was as good as seeing Ram. No? And then eventually she asked this question, how is Ram doing? How will you answer that question? No? Hanumanji could have said, bahut acha hai. So by saying that Hanumanji, that Ram is doing very good, that will cause distress to Mother Sita. But if you tell Mother Sita, is not very happy, he's distressed, it will distress her, no doubt, that my husband is not doing good. But that news of distress of Lord Ramachandra will cause pain to her, but that pain also will become nectar. Therefore, Valmiki Maharshi says that news of Lord Ram not doing very good. The poets, the Vaishnava poets say, the mudra, the ring of Lord Ramachandra's hand, the finger ring, was almost had become like a bracelet. यानी कि इतना हाथ पतला हो गया. Hanumanji said, whenever Lord Ramchandra tries to sleep, he rises up, he gets up, and he calls for Sita. तो ये सुनकर सीता को बहुत त्रस्त हुआ, लेकिन इतना सुकून मिला. No, that my husband is suffering because of me. So in this way, Valmiki Maharshi so beautifully, so sensitively, he brings this conversation between Mother Sita and Hanumanji. And what do we see in Hanuman? We see in Hanuman there is great enterprising quality. बल है, शक्ति है, तंत्र है, निष्पापता, innocence is there, sincerity is there, devotion is there. When buddhi, bal, bhakti का समन्वय हो जाता है, when there is a combination of these three things, then such a person becomes qualified to guide others. No, he guides them properly. Otherwise, sometimes guidance which is full of sentiments without wisdom can be counterproductive. It is nothing but creating small disruption within people's life. Therefore, here Hanumanji, a kapi, apparently had such a profound understanding of life. And therefore when Hanumanji, during the war, when the war was happening, and then he brings that Sanjeevani medicine, and Ram says to Hanuman, Hanuman, what you have done to us? He says, you protected my vrata. My vrata is to protect those who are in distress. And Sita was in distress. And because he brought that message, therefore you became protector of my vrata. Bhakta became the protector of Bhagwan's vrata. And then you also saved Lakshman's face, because Lakshman had taken the vow of protecting Mother Sita, and Ravan cheated Lakshman through marriage, and Sita's anger, and Lakshman left that place. And that's how Sita was kidnapped. By protecting Mother Sita, by bringing her news, you basically protected the vrata of Lakshman also. And by giving my message to Mother Sita, you protected her also. Therefore, Hanumanji, you're a protector of all of us. Here the Lord, the Supreme Lord, has no hesitation to see Lord Hanumanji having better qualities, better resources than himself. And therefore, Lord Ramachandra had told Hanumanji, he said, what can I give for you? There is nothing I can offer. If I can offer something to you, my offering is questioning your service. If I give something to you, because your service is invaluable. Therefore, Lord Ram told, if I take birth 5 times, like what Krishna told the gopis, like if I take birth of Lord Brahma also, still I will not be able to repay you, O gopis, for your devotion. So Ramchandra told Hanumanji, even if I take 5 lives and try to repay what you have done, still it is not sufficient. Therefore, Hanumanji, I have nothing to give you. Lord Ramachandra made Hanumanji stay in this world. Everybody was taken back to Vaikuntha planet. Right, if you read in the Valmiki Ramayana, everybody got Vaikuntha, but not Hanuman. Hanuman is still here. No? Sometimes people are very eager to go back to Godhead. No, as if it is like a next street only. No? So here Hanumanji was told by Lord Ramachandra, you stay here. And Hanumanji also wanted to stay. And what was the benediction he asked? My Lord, wherever your katha is going on, your divine pastime is going on, I want to be there. I want to be there. Therefore he desired millions of years. Because 2 years are required for hearing one katha. But Ram katha is going everywhere, in all the places. Therefore he wants to have this, prapti siddhi or dhura darshana, dhura shravana. One of the mystical power is that you can hear from a distant place, some other place. कितना खतरनाक हो जाएगा अगर हम सुनेंगे तो. Because we will not extend our ears to hear a Hari Katha. Sitting here 2 years and 2 years are watching, hearing some cricket commentary, political analysis. So Hanumanji said, I want so many years. And Lord Ram gave him. And another Vaishnava Acharya says, Hanumanji was thinking this body was embraced by Lord Ram. When he brought the message of Sita, Lord Ramachandra, he embraced Hanumanji. So Hanumanji thought there is no point in giving up this body. Because Bhagavan has sparsh kiya isko. He has touched this body. So whether I stay here, I go, doesn't matter, because what I have is something valuable. I get to hear the holy name, Lord Ramachandra's great pastime. So he stays in Kim Purusha Loka, and sometimes people like Bhima bumped into him. No? And then he also gives them some spiritual knowledge, and he gave that knowledge that when you are doing something, do your work thoughtfully, carefully. Enthusiasm without thoughtfulness means destruction of that forest. Bhima was destroying that forest. So just to stop Bhima from being too enthusiastic, Hanumanji spread his tail. Usko roka. And then he gave the message. And eventually Bhima learned from his brother, and he asked Hanumanji, will you come on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, become the mark on my brother's flag, Arjuna's flag. And whenever I give roar, then you add your power also in that roar. So therefore when Bhima would roar, it is said that Hanumanji added his power. तो सोच सकते हो क्या हुआ उनको, the opposite army, and stayed there as a mark on Arjuna's flag. Another thoughtfulness of Hanumanji, for the Treta Yuga, the Ram and Ravan's battle was big. They were Rakshasas. But Kurukshetra battle was not among the Rakshasas. They were Rakshasi. Vritti was there. But they were not Rakshasas. So the match between the Pandavas and Kauravas was like a IPL match. But Ram and Ravan's match was like a World Cup final. But Hanumanji is willing to stay as simply a spectator. No? Because he realized my time is up. Kala sabko irrelevant bana deta hai. When we agreed to become irrelevant at the right time from doing something we are no more competent, that means we are still relevant. By becoming irrelevant, we become relevant. So Hanumanji became relevant by remaining on the flag of Arjuna and watching Arjuna perform this great task and taking great pleasure in saying something which was much more inferior in quality of war. Because, fighting Ravan and fighting Duryodhana. Duryodhana had the same demonic mentality, but the capacity was less. You don't find anybody like Kumbhakaran. Ghatotkacha was there. No? But Kumbhakaran is Kumbhakaran. The description of Valmiki Ramayana, when Hanumanji bumped into that cave where Kumbhakarna was living, Kumbhakarna sneezed and Hanumanji flew off. That was his power. But that very Hanumanji, of course, he was very powerful also, but he remained a mark on Arjuna's flag. So therefore, such Hanumanji is a great inspiration. There is no controversy about Hanumanji. Everybody has fascination for Hanumanji because Hanumanji represents that substance of communication. Making language understood and content what is given in that language of telling Mother Sita about Lord Ram made Sita come closer to Lord Ramachandra. Therefore, the Sri Vaishnava Acharya explained, here Sita is playing a role of a jiva. She is not jiva, she is playing a role of a jiva. And Hanumanji is like a guru. Where does he come from? He comes from the land of Vaikunta, bringing the message of Lord Ramachandra. But how does he give message? Because when you come from other planet, other world, you don't understand. Whether to say hello, like when you talk to here. In India, you don't have to greet anybody when you're walking on the street. There are too many people to greet. But in America, if you don't greet people, then people feel offended. So different culture, right? So you have to learn that. So somebody coming from Vaikunta planet, the Guru, and speaking the language of the Jiva who's stuck in this material world and making them understand and giving them hope and happiness and connecting them back to Lord Ramachandra. And therefore Hanumanji represents that tattva, the Guru tattva, the Vaishnava tattva, the Acharya tattva, the preacher tattva, and the great communicator tattva. From any perspective if you see, therefore invoking Hanumanji's mercy means becoming relevant, even though sometime at some point of time we will become irrelevant. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I will stop here, otherwise if I overspeak then I will become irrelevant. Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments?
You said about the Bhagavad Gita chapter 18, 5 things. But you said 4, and what is the
Fifth one, Daiva.
What is it?
Daiva, I said God's mercy. That is the fifth. I said that 80% when God sees that you have put your investment rightly, then he is a venture capitalist, we said. Then he puts his investment. If I don't try, when we say Sarva Dharman Parityajya, give up everything and surrender unto me, that doesn't mean that I stop working. We don't become burden to God. When something is easily available, the tendency is to become complacent. When we talk about the greatness of God is spoken not for us to make complacent. The greatness of God is spoken so that we become more desperate. So therefore these are the 5 factors. That is the beauty of the Buddhist philosophy. Only talks about self-efforts. It's like the Buddhistic philosophy is like ascending process. And then the Christian philosophy is a descending process. I don't need to do anything. There is no concept of sadhana. You just take shelter of Jesus, then things will happen. But the Vedanta philosophy is the jiva tries to go up and the God descends, and there is a meeting point. Therefore sadhana is my effort and God's grace is his descending. Like somebody said in Vrindavan, that the mathematics of Krishna consciousness is very unique. Like 99% efforts is the effort of the jiva, and God's mercy is 1%. But the consequences of 99% is 1%, and God's 1% is 99%. But what do we think? अरे मैं भगवान का भक्त बन गया, अभी मुझे कुछ नहीं करना है, 99% God करेगा. तो गड़बड़ हो गया मैथमेटिक्स में. He will put only 1%, but the impact of that 1% is 99%. Right? If you don't brush your teeth, I always give this example, and only chant Narsingh Arti, your mouth will stink. It will not become clean automatically. If you don't bathe every day, thinking that I bathe every day with the holy name, it's cleaning the soul. But शरीर साफ नहीं हो रहा है ना. शरीर साफ करने के लिए स्नान करना ही पड़ेगा. And our condition is such that if you don't become fresh, then chanting will also not happen. Our chanting is connected to our material surrounding. We are not such great souls like Mother Sita, Prahlad Maharaj. They are great inspiration. And therefore, why does Krishna comes to this material world? Why should he come to this material world? He should make us feel this material world is so miserable. It's already miserable, then why does he come and make it more organized? Because only when things are very organized, systematic, then it becomes easier for us to practice spirituality. Loyalty can only come when there is a stability. In the Mahabharata, very interesting. Other day was a Women's Day, no, right? Right.
Yesterday.
For us it is every day. Because the scriptures say, Panchakanya Nitya Smaret. Mother Sita, Mandodari, Tara, Draupadi and Kunti. Or Ahalya also sometimes. So, Yudhishthira Maharaj asked this question 5,000 years ago. What was the question? Such a practical question he asked. He said, if a daughter is also part of the family, why she does not get inheritance from the father? Now they made a law. So this question was asked by Yudhishthira 5,000 years ago to Bhishmadev when he was lying on the bed of arrows. What did Yudhishthira Maharaj say? He didn't say, usko kuch nahi milega. Don't ask further question. No, he answers so beautifully. He says that when a daughter is getting married, the family which comes for an alliance, if they like her, the boy's father, hear carefully, the boy's father, when he agrees that this girl can be married to my son, he gives certain wealth. It could be land, it could be cows, it could be gold. No dollar, that time there was no dollars. So he gives that money, and where does it go? It goes to the daughter only. The father of the daughter cannot take it. If the father of the daughter receives that money, he gets the sin of selling his daughter. And the father of boy gets the sin of purchasing the daughter. स्त्री को खरीदने का बेचने का बहुत बड़ा पाप लगेगा. So the money goes to whom? It goes to the daughter. And the second, when she gets married, the father gives her stridhan. There is no such word as varadakshina. Officially nahi hai. Unofficially the father feels, I want to give something to my son-in-law also. That is out of affection, not compulsion. No price. Engineer ko itna milega, doctor ko itna milega. That is ashastrik. So when the stridhan comes to the daughter, the husband cannot touch it. If he touches that money, he loses his manliness. No? So when the money is there, the wealth is there, so she becomes stable. अगर घर पे कुछ गड़बड़ भी हो गया, बोलती चिंता मत करो, मेरे पास है, धंधा फिर से चालू करो. No? So just see, unless there is the stability for most people, it is not possible to practice spirituality. Therefore, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, a miserable person becomes an agnostic most of the time. It is very rare that a miserable person comes to Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, every hospital, it should be land of pure devotional service. Build more hospitals. ऐसा नहीं होता. Doesn't happen like that. Too much of misery and too much of luxury makes one forget the goal of life. Therefore, balance. Dharma means balance. Therefore, Krishna comes to create balance. And therefore, one of the most important principles is what we misunderstand in India, but it is not Shastra, कि हमें तो कुछ नहीं करना है, सब वो कर लेगा. वो क्या अपना कॉन्ट्रैक्टर बैठा है क्या फुकट में? So this has been preached so much that in the name of bhakti, we have preached wrong thing. Therefore, this Shivaji Maharaj's guru, those are Maharashtrian, Ramdas Swami. He is called as Samartha Ramdas. Why Samartha Ramdas? Is that a Ramdas hona, to Shand mat bano, Samarth bano. Otherwise you'll become burden to Lord Ram. If you are competent, then you serve Lord Ram. But if you are mentally off, physically off, then you are supposed to be in the hospital, mental hospital, not in the temple. पहले ठीक हो, फिर बाद में इधर आ जाओ. No? So that's very important. Therefore, अपना पुरुषार्थ करना ही पड़ेगा. बाद में भगवान प्रसाद के रूप में अपनी दया देंगे. पहले प्रसाद नहीं मिलेगा, इंडाइजेशन हो जाएगा. Yes.
I was thinking this daiva is related to karma. It is linked with karma. It is linked with the prarabdha and sanchit karma, and that's how it gets decided how this divine factor will play.
No, daiva basically here in the Gita is talking about the grace of God. Sometimes you see, like I was sharing one example, Zakir Hussain. People put the same amount of effort, some people, like him. But there is some energy which makes him play tabla the way he plays. Not everybody can play like that. Exceptionally good. That does not happen simply by past karma. There is a special privilege of God. When Bhimsenji should sing. Many people have learned like him. But there is a special. Therefore, what does Krishna say in the 10th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita? That is called as the spark of that splendor. When you see some special power presented by people, it is not happening only because of daiva. Basically, daiva means your capacity. Why somebody is born in particular situation with a particular resources, with particular talent? Because of his previous karma only. You can enhance your talent. Your capacity can be achieved. We don't use our full capacity, but you cannot increase your capacity.
So there has to be grace. There has to be grace.
So therefore, even if you have a capacity, even if you have achieved the capacity, but the success is not only depending upon your present work and your purva karma, but there has to be a grace of God also. Bhagwan ka bhi krupa chahiye. Otherwise what will happen? A living entity will feel very arrogant. I don't need God. It's like when you play a snake and ladder game. No? This game is teaching us the principle of Daiva. Nobody can claim that I will get 4 and then I'll go up. Now when you claim like that, then you get into the snake's mouth. Snake and ladder game was called as Muktipad game. Started by the great Gyaneshwar Maharaj. No? He started that. What does it indicate? It talks about your efforts is there. You keep doing, you keep throwing. Sometime you go on the ladder, you go up. And when you come at 94 or 92, 96, from 96 directly you come to 28. Nowadays they actually made the snake smaller because children cannot handle it. So the point, but you keep throwing, your endeavor, keep endeavoring. The result will come. So therefore, when you become successful, there is a chance of becoming arrogant. If you fail, there is a chance of becoming depressed. आप जानते हो my work is to keep doing what I am supposed to do, but the result is not within my hand. What is within my hand is work. Action is within my hand. So therefore, if I focus on what belongs to me rather than focus on what belongs to God, I don't have the control over where I go. I have the control over what I do. So don't worry about where you have to go after this life. That is Krishna's responsibility. My responsibility is doing what I am supposed to do. Similarly, Daiva and Purushartha is within my capacity, understanding my capacity and doing accordingly, and then the grace of Lord comes. No? And therefore Krishna consciousness means what? After doing all that efforts, when the success comes, give all the success, the credit of all success goes to Guru and Krishna. And all the fault comes to me. No? Like somebody put salt in the Charanamrit and she was distributing, and Prabhupada, when he drank, he said, "What is this?" No, Prabhupada made a face because there was salt. He said, "There is a salt in this." She said, "Prabhupada, it's Krishna's will." "No, it's not Krishna's will, it is your stupidity, your negligence." No? Very simple. Therefore, Shastra, they are very logical. They're very logical. Therefore, and especially Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita, somebody said Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, they are like sugar cane. And Bhagavad Gita is like sugar cane juice. Krishna made it more simple. But now sugar cane juice also has become very difficult to consume. People expect Sprite instead of sugar cane juice. So just like cow's pure milk, like our temple is in South Bombay. A lot of these South Bombay kids are more westernized than even kids in America. Because there's a lot of money. So when you give them pure cow's milk, you say, yuck. Because they're accustomed to drinking Amul and this and that. When you give them pure cow's milk, the smell they cannot handle. They can't digest also. They get diarrhea. So Shuddha, something it is very pure, if you give as it is to somebody who doesn't have the capacity, indigestion ho jata. Pure spiritual knowledge. We are not ready to handle that. Therefore we need some jokes, some stories, some entertainment. Through that you give knowledge. Therefore language has changed. People have changed, so the language has to change. Hare Krishna. You had a question?
Yes, Prabhu. You were talking about Hanumanji becoming irrelevant, or choosing to become irrelevant and being relevant. So I was hoping you could tell me more about it. I'm trying to understand that. So why he chose that versus...
Because time factor makes all of us irrelevant.
He was still relevant and is relevant, right?
Yeah, by taking a different position. Like Sachin Tendulkar retired. Right. Now he remains expert about cricket, but he can't play anymore. He may play with his children, with his other, you can keep playing. But a professional player, you are forced to become irrelevant. Every day people don't talk about him. When the match is going on, the commentator talks about only Sachin Tendulkar. Actually in 1995, when the commentary is running, but he'll be suspended. Arey Baba, Virat Kohli ke baare mein bolo. No? So like that. So you have to choose to become, you have to learn to give your keys. Like recently I did a seminar on relationship. Detachment in Bhagavad Gita is not giving up things. Detachment in Bhagavad Gita, accepting that I am becoming not relevant. The best example is when a daughter or a son gets married. So the son naturally becomes more, spending time with his wife. And the first person who is threatened by that is the mother. She can't give it up. And it is not conscious, it is very unconscious, and therefore it is more painful. She feels threatened. And many times, India still arranged marriage works. She is the one who chooses, I need to get such a daughter-in-law, she'll remain my friend. छोड़ती नहीं अपने बेटे को, मैं जानती हूँ मेरे बेटे को क्या खिलाना चाहिए. The scripture say, what is detachment means? Actually, mother handing over the son. Nowadays, even if she doesn't hand over, they go under. So better take the credit. Hand over, bahu, aapka ban gaya. So that is what means becoming. Relationships always remain, but it's also seasonal. The mother and son relation become little dormant, and wife and husband relationship become more active. Sometimes aggressively active, violently active, however, but it becomes active. So when the son comes, daughter comes, then naturally there is a less involvement between husband and wife because the baby has come. So the nature of relationship doesn't change, but the nature of relationship keeps changing. Like best friends, boys, they're best friends. Friendship has a limitation also. If the guy gets married and is telling his wife, for me, my friend is most important. So she'll say, are you gay? They'll ask this question now. Come on, no, friend has to tell, Baba, jao udhar. No, we had fun time. Now we'll have very organized, systematic, spontaneity nahi hai. Therefore, Gita is all about not giving up things. Tyag, no. Anasakti. More than anasakti, what is that? Rag, no, rag has to be less. You are involved, but raga is not there. Obsession is not there. Therefore, Krishna basically is teaching in Bhagavad Gita, don't get lost in anybody in this world. When you get lost in relationship, you become obsessive, you become possessive. And the worst part is those who do so much good to others, they are the one who start feeling that I control. It is unconscious. It happens with the preachers also. They feel, मैंने पेड़ लगाया इसको, इसका फल मुझे ही मिलना चाहिए. They should continue to listen to me only. No, because they are also growing. The real teacher, the Kathopanishad says, Taittiriya Upanishad also says, it's talking about Guru. He says, when do you go out of the Guru's ashram? When the Guru realizes that my student has learned the art of learning wherever he looks. Learning has become conditioned. When the learning becomes conditioned, then the Guru says, now you go. Because wherever you go, whatever you see, learning has become your nature now. So you don't have to stay here now. That is the time he leaves him. No, he empowers him. In the spiritual realm, the principle is that you always leave people who can be independently thoughtful. Don't control them. And whom do you take care of? Those who are ignorant. And once they become knowledgeable, they say, गुरुजी मेरा पढ़ाई हो गया, अब मुझे छोड़ दो. But we also sometimes act like, multinational company. A resourceful person should stay with me only. And I will not give him full information. 20% I'll keep with me only. But the real teacher, he said, I am giving you 100% better. Grow in such a way. Therefore, Krishna is such a great teacher. You don't find anywhere in Gita, Mahabharata where Krishna orders. He only suggests. He is only inspiring but not making Arjuna perspire. Ultimately, it's Arjuna's decision to fight. Yathechasi tata guru. Krishna, can you imagine after speaking the entire Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is the courage. If I invest on somebody else after 10 years, I will never say like that. Yathechasi tata guru. Because सामने वाला वेट ही कर रहा है बोलने के लिए, सुनने के लिए. But Krishna is saying that yathechasi tata guru. So it was Arjuna's greatness to tell Krishna, no, I want to follow you. But still Krishna did not force. Therefore, in the process of, especially in the Sanatana Dharma method is, Prabhupada said, here is the disciple, here is Krishna, I will bring them together and I walk away. No? The Guru's responsibility is to connect the Jiva to Chaitya Guru. Not immediately, eventually. Life begins with discipline, like school. You begin with concrete, but you lead to abstract. That means abstract means that you have to explore now. No, freedom comes only after discipline. If the discipline is not there and freedom is given, that becomes recklessness. So there has to be system, there has to be organization, there has to be discipline. But you can't discipline a grown-up person. You have to leave them. No. Because it is between them and Krishna. How long can you control? And nowadays people, if you try to control also, they will rebel. There is another freedom fight. No? Hare Krishna. We'll stop here. Any other question? Any ladies have question? Yes, mother-in-law. No?
Question like when you're talking about the criteria for success, to achieve success, there may be all the other factors might be met, and the mercy might not be there, but they still be successful. I'm just giving an example. Please correct me. For example, those diehard who are materialists, who have everything in life, everything is very luxuriously, and things are going very good for them, and they are working hard to exploit at their limits, and then they are achieving results too. So they don't even want to come into this field of Krishna consciousness because the life is so good and rosy for them. So for them, how that one person will still be there at mercy, that's what I'm.
Yeah. So here we are talking about completeness. One is Shreyas and Prayas. They are only focusing on the material side. When we are talking about material and spiritual, Dhruva Maharaj, Prabhupada explains in the 4th canto of Bhagavatam that he was prosperous materially and also spiritually. Arjuna, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partha Dhanurdhara. There was Niti, there was prosperity, Sri, there is Dhruva, determination, and there is morality also. Why? Because Krishna was there. So only material success without spiritual understanding is no success. But again, the point is, if they do their thing properly, because material world is very mechanistic. In regards to material success, we have to understand, Krishna does not directly get involved. Mathematically, if you do properly, and your daiva is also there, your past karma, then the result will come. But the understanding of God is not there. So here what we are talking in the 18th chapter, material success requires mechanistic for preciseness, and offering your gratitude to God requires seeing that, oh, there is also mercy of God. They are not able to see that. God is there. Without that the success will not come. But they are not able to offer that gratitude. And therefore they are most unfortunate. Therefore those who are too prosperous without God in the picture, if you actually talk to them, you will realize such an ignorant fools about the realities of life. No? They squander their money for no good reason. They squander their money to giving to those people who have no affection for them. Therefore Krishna in the 12th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, he talks about who is real prosperous and what do they do. Either they love Krishna exclusively, or they do love Krishna disciplinedly, or they offer the results of their good karma to God, or the fourth one, at least for some good cause, building hospital, building road, building, well. Bhagavatam explains about this. But they don't do that also. They say, nahi, humko isme dena hi nahi. They will give money to Virat Kohli. No. Just imagine that our sports people earn so much of money, film stars earn so much of money. They have talent, but the disproportionate wealth they achieve is not fair. A good teacher who is making student, they earn so less. Our soldiers, those who did surgical strike, they are real heroes, but the movie will be made on them now and they'll make more money. So that is, who is responsible? It's a society is responsible for that. No, we consider them to be real heroes. Right, nowadays even the marriages, people instead of calling pious people, they hope, if these people come. Therefore you can imagine what is the future of that marriage. ये संस्कार है, ये इवेंट नहीं है, it's a संस्कार. जितना auspiciousness को invoke कर सकते हो उतना invoke करना चाहिए. If they don't do that, they do otherwise, it becomes an event which is show off. Then naturally, and you see every, like in South Bombay where I stay, there are this psychiatrist. You don't get appointment for 6 months. That shows how happy they are. 6 months you don't get. And for 1 hour they charge 6,000 to 7,000 rupees. And they say at least you need 17 sessions. So हो गया ना कितना, 6,000 rupees, 7,000 rupees per hour, and you don't get appointment for 6 months. Become more crazy. Like that. Therefore we have to see the substance. Superficialities, like Ravana's Lanka was full of prosperity. No corruption in Ravana's Lanka. You couldn't corrupt even one police cop there. Just because they are efficient doesn't mean that there was God's mercy. Efficiency was there, but God's grace was not there. So it's better that there is some spontaneity, some chaotic condition, not that full. 80% should be discipline, 20% spontaneously chalega. But there has to be God's grace. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
His grace Govinda Prabhu ki jai.
Hare Krishna, please be seated. Quick announcement. So you have seen the wisdom shared by His Grace Govinda Prabhu, and his depth of understanding and presenting, particularly from Ramayana and Mahabharata, you can see. And he has scientifically and logically analyzed, and from the scriptures he presented it for us to understand in a simple way, which makes logical sense to us. You see, hand of God, how God protects. This is one book by Govinda Prabhu. Similarly, the real side, which talks about the facts like Krishna got away with genocide. Isn't Krishna the real Karna the real unsung hero? And how could Draupadi marry 5 men? So these are all the questions. So Prabhu has nicely explained in these books. Similarly, the Karna on trial. So we have seen particularly Prabhu is mentioning about people from Andhra. So there is a movie called Dana Veera Sura Karna. So glorification of Karna. But so Prabhu has nicely put the facts of understanding the real facts behind Karna. And similarly, voice your choice. This is presented ethics from the epics. He has 2, 1 and 2. So these are words of wisdom, as you have seen from Prabhu how he is presenting. So it is for us, you can understand easily, even the children. Particularly as Prabhu is telling, he talks to a lot of youth, and so this makes sense. As parents, we understand. Definitely, we can pass it on to us youngsters. Similarly, if you have teenagers or anybody, it will be very useful for them to read. So these books are available upstairs with Ravi Chand Prabhu, Raj Govind Prabhu, and Radhika Sakhi Mataji. So you can see them. These are 5 books. You can take the whole sets. There are sets available, or your choice of books. Thank you. Hare Krishna. And tomorrow there is Bhagavatam class at ISKCON.